Following his surprise visit to Ukraine this week, US President Joe Biden met leaders of the so-called Bucharest Nine. That's countries on NATO's eastern flank that joined the military alliance after the collapse of the Soviet Union. Most of them are now among the strongest supporters of military aid to Ukraine, but not all. Joe Biden reassures the eastern partners by reaffirming the US's commitment to the defense alliance, saying we will defend every inch of NATO. Let's take a listen to the US president.
Last year, with your countries around this table providing collective leadership, we've also strengthened NATO. The commitment of the United States to NATO, and I've said it to you many times, I'll say it again, is absolutely clear. Article 5 is a sacred commitment the United States has made. We will defend literally every inch of NATO, every inch of NATO.
Well, joining me now to talk about this further is Michał Baranowski. He's a managing director of the German Marshall Fund think tank. He joins me now from Dallas. Mr. Baranowski, thank you so much for being with me here on France 24 this evening. Joe Biden, obviously they're seeking to reassure the eastern flank of NATO. Those countries have often been referred to as the soft underbelly of Europe. How at risk are these countries feeling?
I don't think we are a soft underbelly of NATO. Both the countries of the eastern flank and the other members of NATO not only reassured but reinforced the eastern flank. So this region is increasingly well defended in case of Russian aggression that right now focuses on Ukraine very much. And countries in the region are feeling very strong in terms of support for Ukraine, and with the United States are leading the way for the whole alliance to provide as much of military aid to Ukraine so it can deal with Russia directly.
You work in your organization's Warsaw office. Obviously, Poland shares a lengthy border with Ukraine. How present does the threat feel for those in Poland and beyond?
Well, to be honest, people understand that we now live under the umbrella of not only of NATO, which is absolutely true, but also of the Ukrainian armed forces that are fighting the Russian military directly. In the beginning of the war, about a year ago, many of us were worried that Ukraine might fall. And if that was to happen, we would have Russian tanks right on our borders. But because Ukraine is fighting so bravely and because the West is standing behind Ukraine, there is not a huge concern in the population. From time to time, though, we do experience the war directly. Some of the viewers probably do remember that a few months ago now, a rocket, anti-air and missile defense rocket fell in Poland, killing 2 Polish citizens. This was the first of that incident of that kind. Nothing like this happened since, but this is a war next door. So until Russia ceases the war, we'll definitely feel it as something that is happening in our direct neighborhood.
Do you think these eastern countries are likely to ask for more from Washington to feel more secure with its commitment to NATO, or do you think Joe Biden's words today were enough?
Well, the NATO as a whole, so it's not only the decision of the eastern flank countries or the United States, but NATO as a whole, very much with France and Germany, Great Britain and others, have decided in the last NATO summit in Madrid that the eastern flank of the alliance will have to be reinforced further, perhaps to a level of a brigade in each of the country, that the military across the alliance has to increase its readiness. And this is something that the countries of the Bucharest Nine discussed today with President Biden. And that's something that will bring fruit, I think, in Vilnius during the upcoming NATO summit in July of this year.
Vladimir Putin thought that this war would test Western resolve. I think it's fair to say that that's backfired, at least for now. Western support seems to be very much with Ukraine. Would you say that American-European relations are at their best now than they ever have been?
I think they are in a we've had so many ups and downs over the course of the relationship. But of course, the biggest low came with the presidency of Donald Trump, and it's true that President Biden have reversed this trend entirely. His administration focused on keeping unity of the alliance through a very difficult test. It was not given that NATO and EU plus US will stand together in this terrible test that Putin put us through. Putin did think that the alliance, the unity of the alliance, will fall apart. He was deadly wrong, and yes, I would say that certainly. Over the last few years, we have not seen the relations in the stronger point, but it's nature of the relationship that it ebbs and flows, and of course, many of us are looking to elections in 2024, with a curiosity what the American people will decide for their next president. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, perhaps more than ever, that the result of that election will have major consequences worldwide, that's for sure. Michał Baranowski, thank you so much for joining me here on France 24 this evening. Thank you for your time.
It was great to talk to you. Thanks.
Thank you.